Welcome back to Ranger Reads, brought to you by the Freedom Riders National Monument in partnership with the Public Library of Anniston-Calhoun County. Today, with permission from the Penguin Random House Incorporated, we will be reading The Other Side by Jacqueline Woodson, illustrations by E.B. Lewis. Here on the cover, we have a little girl on a tire swing with a gate or a fence in the distance, and a little girl in a pink sweater leaning on the fence. Okay. That summer, the fence that stretched through our town seemed bigger. We lived in a yellow house on one side of it. White people lived on the other, and Mama said, "Don't climb over that fence when you play." She said it wasn't safe. And in this picture, you have a picture of a big yellow house and some trees and the fence lining the page with some more houses on the other side of the fence. That summer, there was a girl who wore a pink sweater. Each morning, she climbed up on the fence and stared over at our side. Sometimes I stared back. She never sat on that fence with anybody. That girl didn't. And then in this picture, you have the little girl on the tire swing. And then in the distance, leaning on the fence, is the little girl in the pink sweater. Once we were jumping rope, she asked if she could play, and my friend Sandra said no, without even asking the rest of us. I don't know what I would have said. Maybe yes, maybe no. In this picture, you have the little girl leaning on the fence again, and on the other side, you have 5 little girls with a jump rope, looking and talking to the little girl. That summer, everyone and everything on the other side of that fence seemed far away. When I asked my mama why, she said, "Because that's the way things have always been." Sometimes, when me and Mama went into town, I saw that girl with her mama. She looked sad sometimes, that girl did. "Don't stare," my mama said. "It's not polite." And in this picture, you have the little girl that's always leaning on the fence with her mother in hand, and the little girl from the tire in her mother's hand, passing by each other on the sidewalk in town. It rained a lot that summer. On rainy days, that girl sat on the fence in a raincoat. She let herself get all wet and acted like she didn't even care. Sometimes I saw her dancing around in puddles, splashing and laughing. In this picture, you have a little girl in her yellow raincoat, splashing in a puddle. Mama wouldn't let me go out in the rain. "That's why I bought you rainy day toys," my mama said. "You stay inside here where it's warm and safe and dry." But every time it rained, I looked for that girl, and I always found her somewhere near the fence. And in this picture, you have the little girl inside of her house looking out the window at the other girl playing in the puddles. Someplace in the middle of the summer, the rain stopped. When I walked outside, the grass was damp, and the sun was already high up in the sky, and I stood there with my hands up in the air. I felt brave that day. I felt free. In this picture, you have a little girl with her hands up in the air outside and the fence in the background. I got close to the fence, and that girl asked me my name. "Clover," I said. "My name's Annie," she said. "Annie Paul." "I live over yonder," she said, "by where you see the laundry. That's my blouse hanging on the line." She smiled then. She had a pretty smile. And in this picture, you have one girl on one side of the fence and another on the other, and they're talking to each other through the fence. And then I smiled, and we stood there looking at each other smiling. "It's nice up on this fence," Annie said. "You can see all over." I ran my hand along the fence. I reached up and touched the top of it. "A fence like this was made for sitting on," Annie said. She looked at me sideways. And in this picture, you have Annie on top of the fence, and the other little girl reaching her hand up to touch the top of it. "My mama says I shouldn't go on the other side," I said. "My mama says the same thing, but she never said nothing about sitting on it." "Neither did mine," I said. And on this picture, you have Annie reaching down from the top of the fence to grab the other little girl's hand. That summer, me and Annie sat together on that fence, and when Sandra and them looked at me funny, I just made believe I didn't care. And in this picture, you have the two little girls sitting on top of the fence and the other girls playing on the ground. Some mornings, my mama watched us. I waited for her to tell me to get down from that fence before I break my neck or something, but she never did. I see you made a new friend, she said one morning, and I nodded, and Mama smiled. That summer, me and Annie sat on that fence and watched the whole wide world around us. And in this picture, you have the mother hanging clothes up on the line and the two little girls on the fence in the distance sitting on top talking to each other. One day, Sandra and them were jumping rope near the fence, and we asked if we could play. I don't care, Sandra said. And when we jumped, Sandra and me were partners, the way we used to be. In this picture, you have all of the girls jumping rope together, 2 girls spinning the rope, 2 girls jumping, and 2 girls waiting. When we were too tired to jump anymore, we sat up on the fence, all of us in a long line. And in this picture, you have the fence and all 6 of the girls sitting on top. Someday, someone's going to come along and knock this old fence down, Annie said. And I nodded. Yeah, I said, someday. And in this picture, the girls are sitting on or hanging and climbing up on the fence. The end.